transposed religious beliefs that were originally inspired by the very dramatic and awe-inspiring apparent death and rebirth of the sun, seen during total solar eclipses, onto the considerably less dramatic but annual and readily predictable winter solstice sunset and sunrise. Hence, the winter solstice sunset aligned passage at Dowth and the winter solstice sunrise aligned passage at Newgrange. So, from my perspective, the winter solstice sun sign aligned passage at Dowth was meant to commemorate the, apparent, in quotation marks, death of the sun during the winter solstice. The winter solstice sunset, the sun going down, the sun dying, and then the sunrise entering the winter solstice sunrise aligned passage at Newgrange would represent the rebirth of the sun after its death. I've even speculated that there may have, that maybe these temples were dedicated to specific purposes. I can imagine, and this is a very realistic, I believe, speculation, that Dowth may have been dedicated to observing the death of the sun, and that there would have been ceremonies at Dowth commemorating the death of the sun during the winter solstice sunset. And then, I'm speculating here, but I think it's very possible that a procession would have been made from Dowth to Newgrange during the long winter night of the winter solstice to celebrate the rebirth of the sun at the winter solstice sunrise at Newgrange. I believe that's a very real possibility. It obviously cannot be proven, but the close proximity of Dowth to Nowth, just a few kilometers away, I think would make it very easy for this to be done. And if I'm correct, that Dowth was dedicated to the death of the sun at the winter solstice sunset, and Newgrange was dedicated to the rebirth of the sun at the winter solstice sunrise, then I think it's reasonable to propose that there could have been such ceremonies and processions, pilgrimages, if you were, very short ones. So where were we? Until such a time as a winter solstice sunrise aligned passage is confirmed at Dowth, I will suggest that Dowth may have been exclusively dedicated to observing the annual death of the sun during the winter solstice sunset, whereas Newgrange, with its winter solstice sunrise aligned passage, was dedicated to celebrating the rebirth of the sun during the subsequent sunrises. Happy winter solstice. So this was posted during the winter solstice of 2019, and I think I will repost it, maybe slightly modified, this upcoming winter solstice. God willing, inshallah. Assuming I'm still around and able to do that. Which I am assuming, but you never know. So I have no intention of dying between now and then, but you never know, it can happen. So that's it. I just wanted to read this aloud. I probably shouldn't have interjected, but I can always do it again. This is my first attempt at reading aloud what I wrote about the rayed sun symbols on Dowth's stone of the seven suns quite some time ago. This is a slightly updated version of something I wrote in the mid 1990s. I'd say 1993 or 4, 1995 at the latest. And I did put it up on the internet, but it was never published in a book or an article or anything like that. It was just available on the internet. So this is an updated version. I think I'll update it a bit more, because there is a little bit more to add, such as what I interjected, in a bit more detail. So that's it. I was just happy to see this, and I think the GIF animation, which again I made quite a long time ago, this GIF animation would have been made in the late 1990s, I believe, certainly no later than the early 2000s. It was on my Eclipsologist websites that I put up in the late 1990s, and that were on the internet until 2006 when they went down thanks to a financial crunch I had and wasn't able to put them back up. They are actually preserved in the Internet Archive. Not all of them, but a good number of my eclipse lore websites that went down in 2006 were archived by the Internet Archive's Wayback Machine. They are available to be read there, and I do link to the pertinent pages and so on so people can read them. But I really should get around to republishing everything, ideally in book form. But I'm just happy to see that, within the hour, Martin Byrne, who I believe is behind this, certainly whoever is behind this, Cliff, and he remembers Father Michael O'Flanahan, chose to post this on the Facebook page, which is of interest to, those people who are interested in, Irish history, Irish culture, Irish prehistory. So hopefully that will be appreciated. And I do also appreciate, and I think I said in the comment, let's go down here. Yeah, so there's the comment. Thank you for sharing this. And thanks also for mentioning my Eclipsology interpretation of the rayed sun symbols on Dowth's Stone of the Seven Suns in this video presentation that I only became aware of quite recently. My Eclipsology interpretation of the symbol carved into the outer perimeter of Dowth's Stone Basin should be of some interest too. In my informed speculation, quoting Anthony Murphy there, all of the Boyne Valley passage tombs display solar eclipse symbolism of one kind or another. That does range quite widely. It ranges from going backwards, if you want, from what I consider to be these very scientific rayed sun symbols on Dowth's Stone of the Seven Suns to some quite abstract, very symbolic art, which I have grounds to believe was inspired by total solar eclipses or perhaps also annular eclipses. Looking at some of it, you wouldn't immediately think in terms of eclipse, but when you know how total solar eclipses and annular solar eclipses were perceived and responded to by ancient cultures, then it's possible to see how these artworks could well have been inspired by solar eclipses. And we'll have a look here quickly since we still have some time left on the video. I see it's overheating a bit, but we still got a few minutes. So this is what I posted in response to a Royal Irish Academy post October 9th, 2019. So yeah, just about a year ago. So basically the Royal Irish Academy post was about Dowth, another passage tomb, and the stone basin that's in it. And here's what I wrote. I think I'll just increase the size here a bit so we can see it better. So here we go. The symbol carved into the outer perimeter of Dowth's stone basin is almost certainly a sun-moon conjunction symbol that represents the union of the sun and moon in a solar eclipse. It may even be a type of winged sun symbol, comparable to this Hittite one, Eclipsology Dowth hashtag. So this is the basin in its chamber, and we can see behind it that there's a rayed sun symbol right here. Or here, let's see. So there's a rayed star-like rayed sun symbol here. Upturned crescents, which in my opinion, they could represent the moon, but I think they could just as easily represent the crescent of the sun. And then actually, the more I look at this one, this looks like a circle inside a large crescent. So this also could be a sun-moon conjunction symbol. This could be the moon embracing the circle of the sun inside it. This is a very universal symbol of solar eclipses. And here we see three concentric circles, which I believe represent the sun. And then outside of it, it's no longer a concentric circle. It's a large upturned horn-like crescent embracing the circles, which I believe represent the sun. Looks like the exposure is not so good here, but it's quite dark. But nonetheless, this is a larger image. I guess because it's dark and we can't see, so we'll forget about that. This is the Hittite one, and I see we have about 3 minutes left. So here we have a rosette, which is a solar symbol inspired by total solar eclipses, in my opinion, and my opinion is based on years of research. This represents the sun. There's really no question that this represents the sun in this context, and yet it's also a flower-like depiction of the sun. Well, it's pretty obvious to me that the only time the sun looks like a flower is during a total solar eclipse, when the sun, hidden behind the moon, is surrounded by its corona. So this is a clear indication to me of a symbol inspired by a total